everybody, it's Hannah. Welcome back to my channel. Good to see you. How are you? My back hurts, so I can't stand up straight right now. That's why I'm kind of tilted. So, what's up? I feel like I'm standing in front of a new bookshelf, but it's the same one. So, I think it's just the different hairstyle that's throwing me off. See, and I was gonna say that I was filming this while Scout was napping on my bed, but she came into the room with me. As soon as I move rooms, she will come with me. I'll grab you. Hi. She's not tortured. She has a happy life. Today I'm going to be doing a tag that Morgan's friend Ariel created, and then Morgan tagged me in. So that's what I'm gonna do. But the first question is, how many books do you plan to read this year? I think my Goodreads number is 120. At the point of writing my answers to this question, like 2 weeks ago, I had already read 28 books. But I'm probably going to go a little bit over it. I read 159 books last year, and sometimes I'll read arcs that I just don't put on my Goodreads, so I'm sure it was a little bit more than that just because I didn't add those books to my goal. Not for any reason, but just because I'm lazy. Let's see. Do you have any reading challenges for the new year? I don't think so. Not anything specifically planned out so far. I'm just trying to take it moment by moment. But I do want to read and kind of get my TBRs down. Actually, I made a 2021 like resolutions video, and I'll link that down below because I don't know how to do the one that's up here. I don't know how to do that yet. But I'll link it down below where I talk about like my goals for this year, but just to sum up more thoughts that I have, I want to get my TBRs down, whether physically or on my library holds or on my new iPad. I want to like really narrow those books down. It just makes it seem a little bit overwhelming, and I want to just kind of like narrow down my TBR. That's just kind of my plan. What was the first book you bought or checked out from the library? So the first book that I checked out was this, I believe, The Silence of Girls by Pat Barker. By the date that my Overdrive said, it was like checked out on January 3rd. So I think that was the first one. I didn't read it until the end of the month, but it was the first book that I got. And then the first books that I bought, I have a whole stack of them because I'm annoying, but so there were the books that I bought in person, and then I was like super excited to talk about those, so I still will, but then I remembered that I have my book of the month. So I got The Removed by Brandon Hobson, a book about Cherokee folklore, family, grief, home, and the power of stories. So there's this one. I've been really liking the like indigenous author stories from book of the month, and I thought that this cover was really pretty, so I got this one. But I bought some books from Barnes & Noble, and they're all classics because that's just who I am now. I'm a classic buyer. I haven't read any of these books, but I got The Picture of Dorian Gray, which is another book to go on this shelf, I think. So let's see, actually yes, my copy of Dracula is on the floor. My sister borrowed my copy of Jane Eyre, and then my Sarah J. Maas books go right here, which my sister is also borrowing. But Picture of Dorian Gray is my first purple one, and then the end papers look like a peacock feather, which is just really cool and pretty. And then it's green, which is ugly, but still fun. So they'll go right here. Oh, but the Wuthering Heights is gray and purple. It's hard. And then I have A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens. This one is blue, and then this like watercolor Jackson Pollock type thing, and then it's red. So I just love these editions. I'm obsessed. And then I just bought Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck. My sister saw this, different sister was like, that was awful, but she said she just read excerpts, and I don't know, I wanted to, so I bought this one. It is very ugly, and I'm sure it's awful, but I just kind of wanted it. What was the first book that you read? The first book that I finished, which I think just seems easier because I totally can't remember what the first book that I read was, but the first book that I finished in the month of January for this year was Jade City. I talked about that one in my wrap up for last month, and I think I gave this one 4 stars. I think it's a fantasy, like a really cool fantasy, but just maybe not my taste. What are 3 5-star predictions you have for this year? This is hard for me. I'm gonna say The Little Friend by Donna Tartt, because I am assuming that my reading tastes right now are going to give this book 5 stars. I've actually been attempting to like focus more on myself for my ratings. If the book wasn't good, but if the book wasn't good but I still liked it, why not give it 5 stars? You know, I've decided that my ratings are for my enjoyment and not anyone else's, so I've been fucking around giving everything 5 stars. That's not true, but I've been having fun. So there's one, the new ACOTAR book that's coming out. I don't remember the name of it right now, but I think that one will be 5 stars. And then another one. Let's give it to The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, because why not? I have that one. That was also on the floor. A lot of my books ended up on the floor this week, but I don't have an explanation, so I'm just gonna move past that. I don't really do 5-star predictions because I'm often wrong, so I don't know. I don't know if that's a good thought or not. It's a question. What is one book you want to read purely because of the hype from last year? Nothing that I own. I don't own very many new releases from last year. What could that be? From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I have a somewhat love-hate relationship with her books. I think her older books I don't like as much, but maybe her newer ones are more to my taste, or maybe it just depends on the series. But I don't know. I could like this one, so we'll see. That's one. That's one that I want to read. What is one book you meant to read last year but didn't? Midnight Sun and Cemetery Boys. Those are 2 that I wrote down, and also books that I own. But I will say, for Midnight Sun, the day that I bought it, my sister borrowed it, and then I did not get it back until maybe a month ago. Let's see, what book have I already DNF'd? Bromance Book Club by, I think, Lyssa K. Adams. I started reading this book. I got 25% into the audiobook, and I texted Morgan, and I was like, I think I have to DNF this book. It's a second chance romance between a couple, obviously. They're currently married. He's a professional baseball player, and they got pregnant really early on into their relationship and had twins. He was already, I believe, already playing professionally at the time that they got pregnant, and so she stopped going to school to raise their kids while he was out. I mean, they both raised the kids, but he would travel or be at practices, and they have a big falling out because he finds out that she's been faking her orgasms and gets really mad. But then they're both mad at each other, and it was just not something that I wanted to listen to, and I really didn't like the female main character. I thought she was just mean, and I didn't want them to get back together, so I stopped reading that one because it was just not making me happy. So I DNF'd that one, but maybe I'll try the others in the series. I don't know if I'll like them more. Better, worse, more, the same, who's to say? What genre? Is it a soft G or a hard G? Is it GIF or GIF? What genre do you want to read more of this year? I guess nonfiction in all scopes. I want to read more memoirs. I want to read more poetry. Oh God. Do I want to read more poetry? I mean, the answer is no, but maybe I should try it. I guess nonfiction and poetry. Are you unhauling any books to make room for new ones? Yes and no. I could say that at least for a fact. Okay, these 2 shelves I will be keeping all of the books on. One, because these books are so fucking expensive that even if I hate these goddamn classics, I'm gonna keep them. And then down here are just like paperbacks, the little bit of hardcover that I own that don't go to series, more hardcovers, and then my historicals. So I do want to kind of what's the word, like cleanse. That's not what I'm thinking. That's not, I guess, unhaul this shelf as I read the books. If I don't feel like I want to keep them forever, read them forever, I will be taking them out because this shelf is overflowing into shelves above it and all over my house. So that, yes, the answer is yes. I also don't have that much space. I have these 2 bookshelves, but I really am only using 6 shelves for my books, which is not enough. But I always feel the need to buy more books. It's hard. I know I need to reorganize, but I don't have the room for it, so it's hard. There's a lot of my mom's stuff on the bottom of the shelves, which makes it difficult. Look at last year's Goodreads winners in every category. Are there any that you disagree with? Any winners that you're interested in reading? So I get to pull out the iPad for this because I pulled it up because it would be a lot of flipping. Let's see. I've heard good things about The Midnight Library, so maybe that one. I didn't really like the guest list. I don't think that the guest list should have won. I didn't think that was very good. I think I want to read The Vanishing Half. I do. Crescent City I own. I just haven't read it yet. From Blood and Ash I do want to read. To Sleep in a Sea of Stars, maybe. I don't know if I'm a huge sci-fi fan, so I'll have to look at that one. It's maybe. Mexican Gothic. I think my sister borrowed, so it might be at her college apartment. Strange Planet by that guy who I think is a anti-abortionist. No thank you. Stamped by Jason Reynolds and Ibram X. Kendi. Yes. The Barack Obama memoir, maybe. And Cast, yes, I do want to read that one. There's a Morgan Atwood poetry book that I think is where I got my, like, should I read poetry book? Maybe. I was okay with Clap When You Land. Not my favorite. Elizabeth Acevedo. I did really like The Queen of Nothing. I gave that one 5 stars. And then Such a Fun Age had a, I do want to read this one. What was that? Readathon that happened that had a lot of controversy. Not about this book, but surrounding. There was just drama around the book that had nothing to do with the book or the author. Just performative activism. So that's cool. I don't really do graphic novels or comics. So there's my thoughts. Most of these I want to read if I have not. So what a concise answer from me. You're welcome. I'm so happy that you asked. If you could recommend one book for someone else to put at the top of their TBR, what would it be? So I have 2 because I'm a cheater. If you like romance, I really think that everyone needs to read this book. It still has a sticker on it. My God, how embarrassing. Get off. There we go. I think that if you like romance, everyone should read this book. I really liked it. How to Love a Duke in 10 Days by Kerrigan Byrne. It's just a really good book. I think that I did. I've read this book, I've listened to the audiobook, and I read an arc of it, and 5 stars every single time. It just gets better. And I read the last book in this trilogy last month. It's just so good. It's such a good series. It's not a dark historical romance. It's like a fun and playful and romantic and sweet, but the heroines in this series all go through something that's very dark. The first heroine was sexually assaulted, the second one was abused by her parents, the third one was attacked as a child, and her whole family was murdered. So it's like dark centric, but just so good and so sweet and so romantic, and I really like this book. I think everyone needs to read it. But then the other book, if you're not so much a romance person, or if you just want to read a fun fantasy, if you haven't read The Poppy War, why? It's such a good, that one was such a good book, such a good series. I also finished that series, or the trilogy, last month. Hi, Scout. And it's just so good. Both of these trilogies. Scout, please stop it. Hey, knock it off. All 5-star series. So that's it. That's all that I have to talk about for this video. I don't have any friends that have not done this yet, so I can't tag anybody. But that's all that I have to talk about. Scout is gonna knock things off my desk because she's naughty. She likes to chew on her hairbrush, so now she's sniffing it. Hey, love. What are you doing? She's petting her own face. Ma'am. Oh, that's funny. Okay. Well, now that I've done that, now that everyone sees Scout That was her brush landing on the floor. Okay, well, I get to go eat lunch and contain my cat, so I will see you in the next video. Have a good day. Goodbye.